after Laci went missing, within 2 weeks one thing that Scott did was he had 10 hardcore porn channels installed on his TV, the type that you pay extra for. And according to reports, they were added around January 8th of 2003. So not even a month later, he's having his cable package upgraded so that he can get those 10 channels.
No, not even a month. Wait.
It's really, like 2 weeks.
Really bad at math here, guys, but yeah.
Yeah, December 24th to January 8th.
I have no words.
Yeah.
I'm literally
it makes
sitting
my
here,
skin crawl.
I have no words. And you could say everyone handles traumatic, difficult, scary life events differently. But for me, if my partner was missing, that would be the last thing on my mind.
And it's all of these things adding up together. If that were the only weird thing, you might be given a pass because of grief. But it's just when you add all these things up together, it starts looking like a really weird picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very apparent at this point that Scott is really just withdrawing from the investigation more and more each day. He's honestly, seemingly, to a lot of people, uninterested.
Definitely. And throughout this entire time, while his pregnant wife and unborn child are missing, he's still actively talking to Amber. And we know a lot about this because his phone was being tapped by police. And it's somewhere in here, too, that Amber actually becomes aware of Laci's disappearance because a friend of hers tells her about it. And apparently, Scott didn't mention that Laci was missing until early January of 2003.
Mm-hmm. And I believe Amber, kind of played it off as she didn't listen to the news and things like that. So they were still able to carry on this seemingly normal relationship. But Amber did eventually confront Scott and asked him, hey, why, back in early December 9th, why did you tell me that your wife was dead? And Scott really did not have a reason for her. He kind of just tried to sweep it under the rug and move past it. And it's a weird thing to say when your wife isn't dead.
Totally. And part of the reason, too, that Amber was having those conversations with Scott is because she was actively working with law enforcement. She was letting them tap her phone. She wanted to basically get a confession from Scott so she could help the police. And later that month, Amber goes ahead and she gives a press conference where she shares details about her affair with Scott. And that just takes so much bravery because think about it. This has now become this big national circus. She has a small child at home. She's putting her whole reputation on the line, coming forward saying she had an affair with a married man, all because she's putting Laci's disappearance ahead of her reputation. And I think that's so brave of her to do. But she is clearly in this press conference very devastated by Laci's disappearance. And she said that she just wanted to help the investigation any way she could. And also around this time, Laci's family gives a press conference, their own press conference. And that's where they publicly revoke their support of Scott. His behavior was too suspicious for them. Why wasn't he following up on leads? Why wasn't he helping the investigation? Why was his unborn son's room now a storage unit? It just seemed too strange, and they could no longer rule him out as a suspect.
Yeah, and they really stood by him, despite a lot of suspicious comments and weird things coming up. I saw one comment that the day after Laci went missing, Scott was asking if cadaver dogs were going to be used in the investigation. And, at this point, it's still a missing persons case. So,
yeah.
And so when Amber came forward, which I completely agree, very, commendable, very risky for her, they were done. And at this point, there's some comments that Sharon actually went to Scott and said, where is my daughter?
That's so devastating for a mom to have to ask her son-in-law that. So in late January, Scott decides that he wants to try to save his image. He knows that this is becoming a big spectacle. He knows everyone's turning against him. So he has the bright idea to do an interview with Diane Sawyer for Good Morning America. And I don't know if you've seen this interview. It is a unmitigated disaster.
I've seen some of the clips, but why was it such a disaster? What?
It's just so clear he's lying the whole time. Diane Sawyer's asking him these questions and he's saying things that directly conflict with other things he said. And she calls him out on it too. She's asking him about the affair. And he says, Laci knew about my affair with Amber and she was actually okay with it. And Diane Sawyer's like, your 8-month pregnant wife was fine with the fact that you were having an affair with another woman. That doesn't make any sense to me. And he's like, he said something stupid like, well, no one knows our relationship but us. And no one bought it. Like, it really tanked his reputation even more than it was already tanked.
Well,
and
didn't he try to lie about the picture that came out about him and Amber too?
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of these pictures from the holiday party he went to with Amber, it ended up getting sold to a tabloid from someone. It was a company holiday party for her. I don't know. It got sold. And he tried to be like, is that me?
Yeah.
Sir.
Oh, is that supposed to be me?
It's clearly you.
Yeah. And after that horrible interview, Amber completely cuts off contact with Scott.